festive video on me using up all the bits of jams and sauces I've got around the house to make a Cumberland style-ish kind of sauce. So it's just before Christmas. All the Christmas functions have been done, so I always end up with a load of cranberry sauce left over. So just little bits that are left in the bottom of the jars that can't be. I'm not going to use cranberry sauce for the rest of the year. So well, for the rest of this year, it's not that long. But I'm not going to use cranberry again until the back end of next year. So we'll use this opportunity to not throw anything away and to use up the cranberry, the bulk of it, to make a Cumberland sauce, as well as anything else that I've got around the house. So last year, what went in? I had some marmalade which went in, and a pot of some kind of, not chutney, but like a, I forget what it was, but like maybe like a plum sauce or something like that, or anything that I've kind of got. So this year I've got the cranberry, and I've got the Pontac sauce that I made as well, which I kind of thought I'm not going to really use this Pontac sauce for anything, so it might as well go in the Cumberland. So let's just give it a taste. It's nice and peppery. I mean, it's nice. It's nice. I made it back end of summer, and then I made another version with blackberries instead of elderberries, and it's very nice. And I've also got another jar of it as well, which I don't think I'm just going to use it for anything. I've already got some in the cupboard. I don't want too much of it, so we'll put this in as well, but we'll give it a taste to see how it's matured by itself. I'm going to stick my finger in because I'm allowed to. See, that's really nice. I think that's going to make a good Cumberland sauce. So I reckon there's about 900 grams worth of some quince jam in there as well. So I've emptied them all out and I've weighed it, and I reckon with that and that there'll be about 900 grams, which will equate to about 16 tablespoons, something like that. So yeah, so dessert spoon is that size, what you eat your dessert with. And then for that we want the same number of tablespoons of, that's a tablespoon compared to a dessert spoon. We want a port, but I haven't got port. I'm not going to buy any for the sake of it, but I have got some sweet vermouth, so we're going to use that instead. So about 16 dessert spoons worth of the cranberry mixture, and about 16 tablespoons of the vermouth. So what I have done is all the little jars that have got little bits in, what I've done is I've just put the vermouth in there and given it a shake up. So they look like that, but then you shake up the vermouth in them and you get all those bits as well. So we don't even like that kind of waste. And then for every 4 dessert spoons of the cranberry, we want 1 orange and 1 lemon, and we're going to take off the zest and we're going to juice them as well. And then we want, for every 4 dessert spoons of the cranberry, we want 1 teaspoon worth of mustard powder and 1 teaspoon worth of ground ginger. So the process is kind of quite simple. What I'm going to do to speed it up the process, what we can do is we can just put everything into the pan and boil it. But when you're boiling jam, there's always the danger that it's going to stick to the bottom and burn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the vermouth and the juices from the oranges and lemons, and I'm going to reduce that down in the pan. We're then going to add the cranberry and other stuff to it, cook that down, give it a puree with the hand blender, and then we'll put in, at the last minute, we'll put in, just before, we'll put in the mustard and the ginger and the zest from the oranges and lemons, give that a stir around, bring up to temperature, and then we'll jar it up, and then it will be ready for using with pâtés next year. But this is just a video on, I mean, I've done this video before, but it is a variation of the same thing. So we don't have to use port, we can use vermouth, We haven't got, it's supposed to be red currant jelly, but we've got a little cranberry left over, so we'll use the cranberry up and any kind of odds and sods that we have around the house just to turn into something else, which we can then make a delicious thing and serve it with pate, well, give it away as gifts, all that type of stuff. So, do some juicing, and then we'll put it in the pan and we'll do some reducing. Reducing. Oh, there we go. Right, so the liquid has reduced, so we can see how much that has reduced. So time to put in the solid part of it. It just speeds up the process of reducing, and there's not that, as liquids thicken, they want to splat everywhere, for want of a better word, kind of like bubble over and all this type of things, and it just, by reducing that liquid down, it just stops that from happening. Well, it doesn't stop it from happening, but it stops it from happening for a longer period of time. So, but it's the same with any kind of liquid that you want to kind of concentrate. If you can extract the liquid from it and reduce that liquid down, and then add the pulp back to it, then it'll just make things a little bit easier. So, it's a bit dark, isn't it, in the kitchen? Ah, it's because I'm not in the lights. That's a bit better. So, that back up to temperature to make everything sure that everything mixes together. Then we'll give it a puree, because it's not just the cranberry sauce just isn't just smooth, and I want this Cumberland-ish to be smooth, and then we'll add the other ingredients to it. I was thinking what we'll do is because we want the flavour of zest going through it, we will puree the zest into it, and then we will add the ginger and the mustard afterwards. So there's no point tasting it just yet, because we've still got these big lumps of other things in there that need to melt first. So 5 minutes or so, just up to temperature, just to sterilise everything. And I've got the jars in a pan of water in the back. So that's come up to the boil and looks like it's reduced a little bit as well. So it looks like it's going to be a good consistency, but also because we're adding a powder to it in the form of the ginger powder and the mustard powder, that's also going to thicken it up as well. So we'll give this turn the gas off. So we'll give this a puree with the zest in. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Because some of these zesty bits, unless you do it really fine zesting, you get these long strands. I don't want those long strands in my sauce. So if we puree them down, we could have done it on a finer grater setting, but just, to be honest, get a bit fed up. You kind of, how much work do you really want to give yourself realistically? So we'll puree that into there. We're not going to puree the powder into it, we're just going to mix that in. Oh yeah, so a tablespoon of the vermouth stroke port was about 25 grams. A teaspoon of ground ginger is about 2 grams, and a teaspoon of mustard powder is about 4/5 grams. I'd go on the 4. Go on the 4 grams. So that's just for me for the recipe for the description. And then I've got the powder somewhere. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to put all the powder in that jar. So we'll just knock that in there, and then we'll give it a mix around, and we'll just give it a heat up, and then we'll jar it up. Or no, we'll give it a taste, and then we'll jar it up. Now we might need to puree it in. No, it'll mix in, it'll be fine. Oh no, we might need to mix. We might need to puree it in because it's got a little bit lumpy. We don't want that, do we? We don't want a great big lump of ginger or mustard powder, ruining the sauce. I don't think we need to heat that any more than that. So, as you can see on the stick blender, it's not completely smooth because we've still got some little bits of things. So, as always, we don't bang plastic on metal because it's going to crack the plastic. We bang the plastic on a hand, just on a hard part of your hand, just to knock any of that off. And then we'll jar it up. So we'll give it a taste, and then we'll see what it tastes like and hot. And then we'll keep a little bit back after we've jarred it up, and we'll see what it tastes like cold. It's not it, because I was going to taste it. I was going to do it on camera as well, wasn't I? So, spoon. Clean spoon. I've got all the bits. I just need another puree. Just needs another puree because it's got that few bits of powder. So we'll give it a taste now, and I'll just give it another puree, and then we'll jar it up. That's nice, is that? That's nice. I think that's going to make a lovely, slightly spicier because it's got the pepper in from the Pontac sauce. I think that's going to make a lovely sauce, Cumberland-ish kind of sauce. But we'll taste it when it's cold tomorrow. Right, let's have a look at this odds and sods Cumberland sauce. It's set pretty solid, to say the least. Oh, I think I'm going to sneeze. Bit of pause. There, I did sneeze, I'm all better. So, it will improve over time, but it's got a nice jammy consistency to it. I don't think it's overly thick. We'll see how it tastes. That's good. That's good, is that? That's going to be lovely with a little bit of pate and melba toast, is that? Oh, that's lovely. So I think as long as we have the orange and the vermouth or port alcohol, and then we put in the obviously the lemon juice and the orange zest and the orange zest and the lemon zest, I think we kind of have that, and then you can then use anything you want as the base for it. So cranberry, red currant, marmalade, any kind of bits of odds and sods that you've got lying around the house that need using up, all work as long as you've got that ginger, mustard, orange, lemon, and some kind of fragrant alcohol like a vermouth or a madeira or a port or a sherry. One of those kind of like fortified wines would kind of like work. I don't think red wine would work. There's probably a little bit too much tannin in it. But any kind of like fortified sweet-ish wine would work a treat in that. But there we go. Another success. I wonder if there will be another one this time next year. It kind of depends on if I've got what I've got lying around the house. Because if this works, most things are going to work. So but I might have something interesting throughout the year that I've made. Actually, I have. I have got something in the cupboard. But I don't need to use it up because I might use it for something else. So potentially, if it's still there, I'll pause and I'll find it. So I made this, which was like a grape compote, which what you do is you get grapes and you take them off the stalk, wash them, and then you cook them down for a long time, and they start to caramelise. And it tasted a little bit like the mincemeat that you put in a mince pie. Not mincemeat as in like to make a lasagna, but the mincemeat that you use to make a mince pie. I don't know if I have them in the rest of the world, but in the UK we have mincemeat, and it's suet and raisins and sultanas and spices and those type of things, and it tastes a little bit like that. So if that's still in the cupboard next year, we'll have a go at turning that into a bit of a Cumberland, and I think that will work. But even though that'll be nice with a pate anyway, so I think if I use all of that I've made this year on pates, instead of making more, what I'll start using is that, I think. And I think that'll go down a treat, because it was very nice when I had it in a restaurant with as a part of the cheese and biscuit course. But anyway, so that's a success. I'll put the recipe in the description.